Benvenuto! Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today is September 9th, and I was thinking of recipes to make over the weekend, and I thought, what's the next big upcoming holiday? And of course, whether we want to believe it or not, Thanksgiving is right around the corner. So I thought I would do some, take a look at some pie recipes or pies that I've never made before. And I came across this one. It's called chess pie, C-H-E-S-S pie. I guess it's inspired a Southern style type pie. And I thought, wow, that looks quick, easy. It looks delicious. So I thought, ooh, let's make it. So I've never made this. We're making this live with you guys. And again, this is going to be a great pie for Thanksgiving. I hope it's delicious. All right, so what do we need for a chess pie? All right, first thing, any pie, we need a pie shell. All right, I've got a 9-inch deep dish frozen pie shell. Now, pie pastry is one of those things that I have never been able to master. Although if we do some additional pies over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to master making my own homemade pie crust. So if you're good at that, certainly make your own homemade pie crust. I found a couple great recipes right from the food processor that I can do a pie crust with. Of course, one of the things I hate about pie crust is the flour. And for any of you that have watched us, you know I hate flour being all over the place. But anyway, all right, I digress. So now I'm going to follow the package directions for a custard style type pie. And for that is, from frozen, don't poke it, don't bake it, pre-bake it on a pie sheet. All right, so we've got a 9-inch deep pie shell. And then we need a stick of unsalted butter. The recipe calls for unsalted butter. I didn't have any unsalted butter, so we're using salted at room temperature. I've got 4 eggs. Again, at room temperature is best. You can plan a little bit ahead, take them out, crack them, put them in a bowl for, a half hour or so before you start to bake. That's just going to help the eggs and the butter incorporate more. All right. Then we need 1.5 cups of white sugar. We need 2 tablespoons, of course, this is all going to be in the recipe, but we need 2 tablespoons of white flour and 1 tablespoon of cornmeal, finely ground, a teaspoon of vanilla, and I've got here 1/4 cup of evaporated milk. You can use regular milk if you don't have evaporated milk. Not that I had evaporated milk, but in the recipe, it recommended it, so I went and bought some. And we needed 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. All right, other than that, like I said, if this pie is delicious and there's that few ingredients, then this is going to be one of my favorite pies. I like a custard pie anyway. In what I've read about this, some people compare this to a pecan pie without the pecans. And like I said, there's lots of different varieties. You can make it in chocolate, different flavors. But I thought since this is the first time I made this pie, we'll just start with the kind of basic. All right, so in our blender, I'm going to put our 1 stick of room temperature butter. It's turned on. I'm going to give it a little bit of a twirl. All right, and then we're going to put our sugar in. So that's 1.5 cups sugar. And we're going to let that cream together. And we've done this before many times, so of course, if your butter is soft like that, it's going to make it go a lot quicker. But we want to get all of that butter incorporated into the sugar. So all those sugar crystals absorb into the butter. And that's probably going to take 2-3 minutes. And by the way, that's just 4 large eggs. And I'm going to go off camera a minute and grab a spatula. Oop. That sounds fun. Must not have it on there securely. And I'm going to scrape the sides down at least once here. I love pies. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like cake too, but I would take a piece of pie, almost any pie except strawberry rhubarb pie. And I say that like I've ever had it, but I never have. But I don't like the look of rhubarb. Let that go for 10, 20 more seconds. All right, I think that's good. We can put all of our eggs in at once. Don't have to worry about being too particular about this with this mix. So based on the small amount of flour, and we've got the cornmeal in there, those obviously are going to be the thickening agent, or to firm up the filling of the pie. So we're going to let that go around and get all nicely incorporated. The oven is set at 350 in case I didn't mention that. And we're just gonna let that go until we don't see, or as little lumps as possible. So again, that's, my eggs are at room temperature, so that helps it incorporate in there. So we want to get that as smooth as possible. That looks good to me. All right, we're going to put our 2 tablespoons of flour and 1 tablespoon of cornmeal. Let's get that mixed in there. So this is going to be a liquidy pie. It's not going to be a really thick consistency. The pie's not going to be liquidy, hopefully. All right, let's put our 1 tablespoon of vinegar in now. In the recipe, it says you don't taste the vinegar. I don't know if it's got something to do with helping it rise, or gives it just that little background of tangy flavor. Evaporated milk. I haven't had evaporated milk in a long time. My grandmother used to have evaporated milk in her coffee in the morning. I'm going to try that tomorrow because I can't remember what it tasted like. There's one other thing I want to tell you guys. I'll tell you when we do our tasting. Not about this, but about a couple comments that we received last week. Good comments, but I just wanted to... I wanted to give a shout out to a couple people. And in goes our vanilla. And believe it or not, I'm going to scrape down the bowl, although it doesn't look like it needs it, but that's it to a chess pie. All right, like I said, the instructions for this called for the pie shell being on a cookie sheet. Oop, we got a little bit of dry stuff up there, and I just scrape that in. Make sure we get everything in there and give it another turn. Okay. And anybody that's baked with us before on this glass bowl, I'm always afraid I'm going to forget and hit it with the beater and the bowl is going to break. All right, let's get this in our pie shell. That's what it was. I didn't have the bottom screwed on tight enough. So this is, it's a lot of filling. So that's why you want the deep dish pie. So this is going to cook for a minimum, I think, of 50 minutes. The recipe says 50 to 55 minutes on a 350 degree oven. And of course you want it to set in the middle. Then the other thing with this pie is it says to cool completely before slicing. So unfortunately, it's going to be a couple hours after we bake this, but we'll come back and have dessert with you all. All right, let's give it a little leavening. All right, in the oven it goes, 350 degrees. Okay, set a timer for 55 minutes.
Sure, 55 minutes. And we're starting now.
I'll give it a quick check at 50 minutes, but every other recipe I've seen, it says it takes a minimum of 55. Of course, that's going to depend upon how well your oven keeps temperature. And we'll be back, check it, and hopefully it'll be done. See you in 55 to 60 minutes. All right, well, it's a little bit, we're just at about 46, 47 minutes. Anyway, it's browning really fast, so I'm going to take it out and take a look at it. Yeah, no, I still don't think it's done. It looks really good, I think. Looks delicious, but I'm not even going to bother yet because I know that's not done. Okay, we're going to stick it back in for the additional time. Now, one thing I didn't mention is if your crust started to brown, you know, I happen to have one of these little pie crust things that you can put on around the edge of it, or some tinfoil. But guess what? This one is too big. So we might end up with a really brown edges. All right, we'll be back in a bit. We'll see what it looks like in about 10 minutes. Well, our pie is done. Now, let me tell you, we had a carpenter come out to take a look at some things that we want done. And of course, he came right at the time he was supposed to. Thank you. But I kind of misjudged how long it was going to take to put this together and everything. Anyway, make a long story short, guys. So I can't show you of us taking it out of the oven. It took about 60 minutes to get to the point where I wanted it, as far as it being done. So it has been out of the oven for a little while. And we've got this crack here. That was my fault, because they got here and I was afraid it wasn't done. So I thought, well, I'm just going to turn the oven down low. It wasn't done, and I turned the oven down low. But so normally it wouldn't have that crack on the top of it. But hopefully it's going to be delicious anyway. And as I told you all, we've never done this recipe before. So we're going to let it cool a little bit longer, and that's going to be our dessert tonight. So we'll see you when we sit down and have our pie. Well, it's time for dessert. We've had a busy afternoon. Like I said, the end of the recipe got a little mixed up, but it came out delicious. So what I want you to do is follow the instructions. We left out a couple little parts that we weren't able to get in because we were dealing with the carpenter. But anyway, it looks delicious. It smells delicious. I did sneak a little taste. And it does taste to me like a pecan pie without the pecans, or that same kind of. I like it.
Wow.
It's vanilla-y.
Yeah.
It's sugary. It's sweet.
It is very rich.
Yeah. I actually like it very, very much. So.
Wow.
I think I definitely would add this to my pie, holiday pies. Definitely tastes like one.
That is good.
Also, so we got a lot done this afternoon. After we finished up with the carpenter, we went furniture shopping, we had dinner.
Good job.
Yes, it was a good day. We had a good day. And then we came home and I had a pie. Well, the only thing I'll say is I hope that you make this chest pie. I hope that you enjoyed watching us. Oh, I did want to say, because I mentioned earlier, we had a couple of comments on the brown bread. I want to say Steve, who made the comment about the butter in the brown bread. I'm pretty sure it was Steve. If not, you know who you are. I don't know if you read my reply to it, but you just blew my mind, because as soon as I read your comment about the brown bread and the butter, because I made a little joke about about using margarine, because Wade always likes to use, I can't believe it's not butter. But I remember my mother, buttering the brown bread with real butter and frying it in a frying pan. And yes, you are right, it makes it 100% better. Anyway, all right, that's all I got to say.
Please like and subscribe. Check out cherryhillhomecooking.com. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video.
Ciao.
Bye. Yeah, wow, it is. It is with a pecan pie
Doesn't it
without the
taste like
peanut.
pecan? Right.
Without the pecans.
Yeah. I mean, it's sweet, and I'm imagining this with some little ice cream, or maybe like a lemon
Ooh, good.
custardy type drizzle, or not lemon, but vanilla, or even some butterscotch. Butterscotch
Oh, yeah.
drizzle over it.
Oh, yeah.
Looks delicious.
Oh, yeah.